2 weeks ago, I filmed a 1,000 point starting army for each of the 40k factions, and this is where my sins came back to haunt me. I didn't do a Grey Knight army or a Great Deathwatch army or an Agents of the Imperium army, and I've got a bit of flack for that in the comments. So I'm going to rectify that today. I'm going to do a 2,000 point army for each of the Warhammer 40k factions, and I'm going to do a 1,000 point army for the armies that I've missed. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Also, these 2,000 point armies are going to be based at RRP from GW. So ultimately, if you buy these through Whaling Games, the affiliate link is below if you want to use that to support the channel. You can go and use those links. So let's get into the first army, which is going to be the Adepta Sororitas. So, Adepta Sororitas. Now, the 1,000 point armies, I'm going to go through each of these. I'm going to go through really quickly because you can watch all of those in the other video that I made. So to start off with this, I've got a combat patrol, which included a Canoness, 10 Battle Sisters, 10 Arco-Flagellants, 5 Sacrosancts, and to add to that, I added an Imaginifier, Saint Celestine, an Immolator, a Castigator, and 2 units of 5 Seraphim. Now, that was my 1,000 point list. Now, to add to this, I wanted to add a couple more characters and some more durable units. So to add to this, I added 2 Hospitallers, Mornvan Val, and 3 Paragon Warsuits. This unit is nuts. It's really, really good. It does a lot of damage, and the 2 units of Hospitallers are really good for later on in the list when they can join a couple of the units. Next, I went for a second Immolator, because I think they're really good, and I've gone for a Dominion squad to get split up in that Immolator. Then I've got 15 Sacrosancts, because we started with 5 in the original Combat Patrol. This is to make 2 units of 10, and a Mortifier. Now, the Mortifier box comes with 2, so you will have 1 spare, but altogether, between the 1,000 points and all of the stuff you added to the 1,000 points to make 2,000 points, this all came to £711. This isn't that bad. I mean, what am I saying? It's really expensive, but I really like the army. This has a lot of cool units. This has a lot of combat and shooting, a really nice mixed arms throughout the list, which is really fun to play in game. If you like this 2,000 point list, let us know in the comments below. I really like making these armies, but I'm not a Sisters main by, but I'm not a Sisters main by nature, so if you think of anything else that you could add to this to make it even cooler, let me know. So let's go on to the next army. The next army we're covering today is the Adeptus Mechanicus. So the 2,000 point army started off with a Tech Priest Manipulus, 10 Scutari Vanguard, 5 Pastrexi Sky Stalkers, 3 Cerberus Raiders, and that was the Combat Patrol. Then after this, we added 2 units of 5 Sicarian Infiltrators, unit of 10 Rust Stalkers, a Scorpius Dune Rider, and a Scorpius Disintegrator. And finally, we added 3 Catphron Breaches to go with that. Very nice Tech Priest Manipulus. Now, to this, I added Belarus Call, because he gives your army an Oath effect, effectively, with reroll hits. Then you've got 2 units of Qatari Rangers. These guys are great because it lets you interact with all of your army rules for battle line. Then we added another unit of 3 Catphron Breaches. This is to make your unit a 6-man, which is a nice, big, beefy unit, which gets to go off and kill stuff. Then we've gone for 3 Cerberus Raiders, another unit of 5 Infiltrators, which is your 3rd unit of 5 Infiltrators, a 2nd unit of 10 Rust Stalkers, and another Scorpius Disintegrator. This altogether comes to £759.50. Ad mech are expensive, guys. I can't get away from it. They just are. But they are super, super cool. But they're a very expensive army. This is what I would sort of approach a 2,000 point ad mech list with. It has some combat, has some shooting, has some battle line. Nice mix of a lot to give you a really nice balanced approach to the game. And I think you'll have a lot of fun with this if you give it a try. So yeah, give it a try, let me know, and let's move on to the next one. The Aeldari. Now, my 1,000 point of Aeldari was pretty fun. This was effectively one of each of the Aspect Warriors and a Spirit Seer and some Wraith Blades, because the Combat Patrol comes with 2 units of 5 Dire Avengers, a unit of 5 Warp Spiders, 5 Wraith Blades, and a Spirit Seer. And then I added 5 Fire Dragons, 5 Howling Banshees, 2 units of 5 Striking Scorpions, 5 Swoon Hawks, and 5 Dark Reapers. That all came to a total of £274.50, and that was a pretty cool 1,000 point list to start off with. Now, to add to this, I wanted to add some really iconic, really cool Eldar models. So I added the Avatar of Cain, Azaman, Janezar, Lycus, unit of Storm Guardians, a Wave Serpent to have your units jump in and out of, and a Wraith Lord. Now, the Avatar of Cain is probably one of the coolest models in 40k, in my opinion. I love it. It's definitely the coolest Eldar model by a mile. So I've definitely added him. Then I've added Azaman because he's one of my favorite Aspect Warrior dudes. So one of the Phoenix Lords. Janezar is amazing and fantastic. Great combat piece. Lycus is so fast. I love her. Some Storm Guardians for backfield objective stuff. Wave Serpent, and a Wraith Lord. Wraith Lords, because I just like Wraith Lords. What can I say? I just love a Wraith Lord. And that all came to £593 on the nose. So This army is probably one of the mid-range armies in terms of price. You're looking at about £600 for an average Warhammer 40k army. So I think this sits well in the region of fine. But all that as a caveat, Aeldari can be difficult to paint, but for this 2,000 point list, it's going to give you a lot of options to paint, which is super cool. So let's move on to the next army. Next, we're going to cover the Blood Angels. My 1,000 point Blood Angel list came with the Blood Angels Captain, a unit of 10 Heavy Assault Intercessors, 2 units of 3 Sandguard, and that was the Combat Patrol. Then we added a Sanguinary Priest, 2 units of 5 Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs, and a Death Company Dreadnought. That all came to £259, which was nice and easy. I really like this list. If you want to go find out the details on that, go watch the video. But what we added to this to make it 2,000 points, we added a Captain with Jump Pack, a Commander Dante, Lamartes, because Lamartes is an awesome mini, same as Dante. Sanguinor, because I can't make a list without the Sanguinor, he's just so damn cool. Then we've added 6 Blade Guard for the Sanguinary Priest to jump into, 2 units of 10 Death Company, because they're awesome. The 2 units of 10 Death Company are effectively 4 boxes of Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs, and I've added 4 Blood Angel upgrade sprues to have enough Blood Angel bits for your entire army, and have some weapon options for the Death Company as well. Now, these are optional. You can find some STLs and 3D print them yourself. That's okay. But I like the upgrade sprues. That's just a personal preference. But as I say, they're completely optional. And that comes to a total of £434.50. This is one of the cheaper armies, I would say. This is a really, really cool army. I really, really like it. I love Blood Angels. Sanguinius is my favorite, Primarch. The entire chapter is so damn cool. The lore for them is amazing as well with the Red Thirst. If you want to go give these guys a go, I'd recommend it. And this army is a great way to start. And then let's move on to the next one. Now, when I did my 1,000 point army video, I was really happy with this army. I was really proud of it. It is literally 2 Combat Patrols, which is an Emperor's Champion, and then I've turned one of the Emperor's Champions from the other Combat Patrol into a Marshal, a unit of 20 Crusaders, 6 Blade Guard, 2 units of 5 Sword Brethren, and a Castellan. This all came to £235, which is a really, really cheap 1,000 point army. Super happy with it. And then I added some more stuff. So to this, I added a High Marshal Helbrecht, 2 units of 5 Assault Intercessors, an Impulsor, a unit of 5 Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs, a unit of 5 Incursors, and 2 Repulsor Executioners. I love this unit. It is so cool. It has so many shots. And also, it's just it gives you a bit of a shooting platform and something to cart around your little 5-man units of Sword Brethren. And it's just a really cool mini. So do go and enjoy this list. I've really enjoyed it myself. High Marshal Helbrecht is one of my favorite miniatures from the Black Templar range. That he just looks fantastic. I painted him one up myself recently, and I definitely recommend getting into them. And the army altogether came to £586.50, which isn't too bad. Again, it's in that average range, and I think it's just a damn cool list. So let me know how you find it. Let's move on to the next one. Chaos Demons. I found a really cool Heathen Knights of Slaanesh Spearhead, which came with effectively 2 Transweavers. They're not actually Transweavers, but you can totally use them as it. 2 units of 10 Demonettes, a unit of 5 Seekers, and a unit of 3 Fiends. To this, I added 9 Fiends, which gave us 2 units of 6 overall, and a Keeper of Secrets. This all came to £310, which for 1,000 points isn't too bad, and it gave us an entire Slaanesh army, which is really damn cool. Now, to this, I added some of the Slaanesh characters. So to start off, I added 2 Contorted Epitomes. They have the really cool mirror. I really like the miniature, and in-game, they're actually pretty good as well. Then I added Infernal and Rapturous. I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I really like her. She's got that cool little, harp, which is awesome. A second Keeper of Secrets. I added another 2 units of 10 Demonettes. And then I added 2 Beasts of Nurgle, little singular models, which are annoying and good to use. And then 2 units of 5 Flesh Hounds. You'll find that little combination in a lot of Chaos Demon lists because they're really good for scoring, and they're just really good. Now, the army altogether, including everything with the 1,000 points and the 2,000 points, comes to £721.50, which is quite expensive, but you do get a lot of bang for your buck here. You're getting greater demons, you're getting all the variety of the lesser demons, and a couple of really, really amazing characters. So I think this army is really, really cool, really, really fun. If you have any other suggestions for this, let me know. Obviously, I've done a Slaaneshi sort of based one today, but there are loads of different avenues you can go down. But I really like the Slaanesh one. So I hope you enjoyed that one, and let's move on to the next army. Chaos Knights. Now, the Chaos Knight 1,000 point list that I did originally was very, very simple. It was an Abominant, 2 War Dog Brigands, and 2 War Dog Carnivores, which altogether came to £240. Now, I really like this list because of the simplicity. It's 5 models. The Abominant is my favorite Chaos Knight. It looks amazing. But then I had to think about how to make this 2,000 points. So to this, I added a Knight Ruinator, first of all, who is really, really cool. I added a Knight Abominant, a second one, because, again, my favorite Chaos Knight. So I added a second one. Then I added another Brigand and another Carnivore. It's just $1, which comes to £60, and 3 Nurglings just for, existing and their little cute selves. Now, altogether, this army came to £565, including everything from the 1,000 points up to the 2,000 point expansion, and I really, really like this list. It's very, very cool. It's got a few big knights, it's got a few smaller knights, it's got some cool little scoring pieces in between, and it has some good guns. You have a nice little mix in between here, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with this list if you gave it a go. If you enjoy this sort of list, give it a go and let me know. But let's move on to the next one. Chaos Space Marines. Now, my Chaos Space Marines just originally got a bit of flack because I told people to buy the Chaos Bikes. But I really like the Chaos Bikes, so, they're an older kit, I agree. But there's just something rad about them from the retro sort of vibe. So if you don't like them, just don't buy them. It's fine. But in the original list, I went for a Combat Patrol first of all, which is a Master of Possessions, 5 Possessed, 10 Cultists, and 2 units of 5 Legionnaires. Then I added a Chaos Rhino, 3 Bikes, 5 Chosen, 5 Havocs, and a Nemesis Claw, which only used a 5-man here for the points, so there's actually another 5 Legionnaires spare. And that all came to £298 for your 1,000 points, which isn't too bad. Then to add to this, for my 2,000 points, I obviously had to go for a Abaddon the Despoiler, because he is damn cool. Then I used the 5 Legionnaires spare from the Nemesis Claw set, so I now have 3 units of 5 Legionnaires. I went for a unit of Obliterators and a Venom Crawler, which all come in $1 for £49.50. Then I went for a Defiler. Now, Defilers have a bit of a bad rep in the meta right now, but they are so cool. Their models are amazing, and I just love them in CSM. That is so, so fun. So that altogether, including the 1,000 points and going up to the 2,000 point expansion, comes to £480. This is one of the cheaper armies you're going to see today, and I didn't expect it to be because of Chaos Space Marines. But I think the Defiler pushes it over the edge because they're so expensive in points now, which is fair. They should be. But I think you'll have a lot of fun with this if you give it a go. So do go give it a go and let me know how you get on with it. So let's move on to the next army. Adeptus Custodes. So, my Adeptus Custodes list originally was very, very simple. It was a Combat Patrol, which included a Blade Champion, 4 Custodian Guard, 3 Alaris Terminators, and 4 Custodian Wardens. To add to this, I added the new box of Venatari, which was 6 Venatari in one box, and 4 Prosecutors. This army altogether came to £192.50, which is super good for the price, and you would have a lot of fun with this in 1,000 points. Now, to add to this, I had a few models in my head that I just auto wanted in, so I added those first. So I added Trajan Valaris, another unit of 3 Alaris Custodians, 2 Venerable Contemptor Dreadnoughts. These guys are so cool. They get back up. They've got some good shooting. They've got some good combat. I just love them. They're so cool. So I added 2 of these. I added then 2 Virtus Praetors, which are the cool little jet bike guys with lances, and then 2 units of 5 Witch Seekers, which gives you 3 units of scoring all in all. Now, altogether, everything involved from the 1,000 points to the 2,000 point expansion, it all came to £456, which is exceptionally good for a 2,000 point army with this amount of variety. So if you like Custodes and you want to give this list a go, I would definitely recommend it. It's a great starting 2,000 points as well. You're always going to find value out of these pieces, and it's a really nice broad approach to it. And also, Custodes are so cheap, you can swap and change anything here, and you're going to find that it's going to be pretty cheap anyway. But I went for the most cost-effective way to get your points up for starting off. And, list is still pretty good. So yeah, enjoy that. And let's move on to the next army. The Dark Angels. So these guys are super cool. Now, I had a few people disagree with my approach to this in the fact that I started off with the Dark Angels Combat Patrol. I understand that some people don't like the Dark Angel Combat Patrol, but I think it's pretty cool. So I've gone with it because it actually builds an army that I'm trying to aim to build myself. So I've started off with a Combat Patrol with the 1,000 points, which is Captain Gravis Armor, 2 units of 5 Intercessors, 8 unit of 5 Hellblasters, and a unit of 3 Blade Guard. Then to this, I added a Ravenwing Command Squad, 3 Ravenwing Black Knights, 5 Deathwing Knights, 3 Aggressors, and a Ravenwing Dark Shroud. That was my 1,000 points. Now to add to this to get to 2,000 points, I went for the Lion. You have to take the Lion, right? So I've gone for the Lion. He is £44.50. He is really, really cool on the battlefield. You can have a load of fun using him, and what a miniature. And then I've gone for Samael. Again, a little bit older miniature, and again, I'm going to add a caveat here. I've gone for a lot of the Ravenwing stuff because I really like the Ravenwing stuff. If you don't like the Ravenwing stuff and they're old, they are due a refresh. then feel free not to buy them. That's fair. I want to give a balanced approach to, like, you know, Raven Wing, Deathwing, and Green Wing. So I want to have a nice mix of all of them. So if you don't like that, that's no problem. Just adjust. So I've gone for Samael, and I've gone for, you know, another unit of 5 Deathwing Knights. That's 2 units of 5 Deathwing Knights. I've gone for 2 Landspeeder Vengeances, which are super cool. And then I've gone for 6 Raven Wing Black Knights, or another unit of 6. And then 5 Scouts. And you get an extra spare of 5 in the box. So if you want to try something different, you're more than welcome to try. And altogether, between the 1,000 points and the 2,000 points expansion, that all came to £671.50. It's a really good value for money army in terms of the amount of miniatures you get, but this is expensive, especially since these models are old as well. But I really like it. It's a really nice balanced approach to Dark Angels, and I think it's really, really fun. So if you like this sort of list, then give it a go. But also, I will say Dark Angels at the moment are pretty potent in the meta. So if you're trying to go for like a, you know, nice chill version, this is a nice chill version. But yeah, have fun with this one, guys. And let's move on to the next army. So this is another one of my sins of the past. This is the Deathwatch. I didn't do Deathwatch last week, and I got told off for it. So I'm going to do a Deathwatch army for you. So to start off with the 1,000 point army, I've gone for a Space Marine starter set. This involves a captain, a librarian, 5 intercessors, and 5 Vanguard veterans, and a land speeder. This all comes to £105 for the new Space Marine starter set. Super cool, like little start to any army. And then to this, I added Watchmaster Artemis because he's cheap and looks cool. And then I added 10 Hell Blasters for that librarian to go into and give sustained. Then I've gone for an Indomitable Kill Team. This is weird to buy because it doesn't actually come as a set, but it's basically 5 Heavy Intercessors, 3 Aggressors, and 3 Eradicators. So I've put the prices of each of those on the list above, and altogether that comes to £288.50 for your 1,000 point list. And this is cool. You've got a nice big brick of Deathwatch, and you've got a nice few little pieces around to help you scoring and do the Deathwatch thing. Now, to go to 2,000 points, I've added a few more pieces. So first of all, I added a Gravis Captain, because Gravis Captain in that Indomitus brick is amazing, with a free strat, and, you know, it's just so, so cool. So I've added a Gravis Captain to the Indomitus Kill Team first. Then I've added an Apothecary Biologus as well. Now, the Apothecary Biologus you can't buy individually, but it comes in a box which is called the Heroes of the Chapter. Now, effectively, these are the models from the old starter set. So this is going to be an Apothecary Biologus, a Lieutenant with Combi Weapon, and 5 Sternguard. So I've added them all into the list, because for £69.50, it's not actually that bad. So I've gone for that, you know, set, and I put it into this. Then I've gone for a Spectrus Kill Team, which is basically just a box of Infiltrators with some Deathwatch bits in between, and that costs £40. Then I've gone for 5 Deathwatch Terminators, and a unit of 10 Deathwatch Veterans for Artemis to run into, and then 5 Incursors. Now, the 5 Incursors, you can have 5 spare Space Marines here, which are going to be like the, you know, Incursory-based ones. You can use this for your conversions for your Spectrus, or you can just have another unit of 5 Incursors to swap out with another unit later on down the line. Now, this all comes to £592.50, which is in the average region of £600 for an army. Completely fine. And I think you'll have a lot of fun with this army. You've got some really cool combat pieces. You've got some awesome uppy-downy pieces. The Apothecary Biologus and the Gravis Captain unit is awesome. So you'll have a lot of fun with that one. And it's got a lot of cool little pieces to like play the game. So you'll have a lot of fun with it. So if you enjoy this sort of army, let me know. And then we'll move on to the next one. The Deathguard. So I got a lot of really nice comments about my 1,000 point Deathguard list. A lot of people liked it, and I really liked it too. So I was really excited to get this one to be done again. So this one was originally a Combat Patrol, which is a Lord of Virulence, a Tallyman, 7 Plague Marines, a Chaos Rhino, 3 Death Round Terminators, and Typhus, and then 10 Blight Lord Terminators. Altogether, that came to £214.50, which is a super cheap Deathguard army. And goddamn, it's not many unit models, but it's just such a cool little list. I love this 1,000 point list. Now, to add to this, I wanted to also keep this quite simple, because I really like the simple approach to the 1,000 points. I wanted to really carry that over into the 2,000 points. So first of all, I added Mortarion. Mortarion's super cool. He just runs around. He's durable. He's annoying. And then I added 7 Plague Marines, 2 Chaos Spawn, and Defiler, because Defilers are so, so cool in Deathguard. The fact that you can just convert them with so many like horrible mutations and like rot and Nurgle's Garden-esque stuff. It's so, so cool. I think Nurgle Defilers are one of my favorite looking ones. So take that as you will. And then I've got a unit of Poxwalkers in there as well, because what's a 2,000 point Deathguard army without some zombies? You know how it is. And that altogether came to £506.50. That's not bad. That's still pretty cheap for a 2,000 point army. In fact, probably one of the cheaper ones you're going to see in this entire video. And I love this army so much, I went out and bought it for a painting challenge, which you'll see at some point in the future. And I'm really excited to paint that. So if you like this, then, great, go give it a try. And let's move on to the next army, the Drukhari. So I'm going to run through the 1,000 point Drukhari list real quick. There's a lot of stuff in it. We started out with a combat patrol. It was a homunculus, 2 units of 5 racks, a Cronus, and a Talos, which was the combat patrol. Then we had a Drazar, because it's Drazar, an Archon, 10 Cabalites, a Venom for them to be split up into, 5 Incubi for Drazar, and a unit of 5 Scourges with heavy weapons, and a Ravager. That all came to £323.50, which is obviously quite a lot, but it's a damn cool 1,000 point army. Then, to make it 2,000 points, I added a Archon, because Archons, I just love them in and there's so many different options that you can turn them into. I think having 2 is completely fine. Lilith Hesperix and 2 Succubi, or Succubuses, I'm not really sure what the plural there is, but it's 2 of those, and then we've got 2 units of 10 Witches, 2 Venoms, 5 Incubi, another Ravager, and then we bumped up to 3 units of Scourge with heavy weapons. Now, altogether, this comes to £660.50. This was less than I thought it would be, to be fair, with the amount of miniatures that you actually have in this. So I actually think Drukhari are probably slightly more value for money than I thought they were. It is still quite expensive, but I think that being RRP and everything being able to be discounted, I think this is probably going to be more in the region of about 520-ish. So I think that's fine. So yeah, if you like this sort of list, let me know. I've gone for the balanced approach here with a bit of Covens, a bit of Cabalite, and a bit of the Witch Cults. So let me know if you like this sort of list, and let's move on to the next one. The Emperor's Children. Now this list was very simple as well. I'm going to run through this nice and quickly for the 1,000 points. This was a Lord Exultant, 5 Infractors, 5 Tormentors, and 2 units of 3 Flawless Blades. That was the Combat Patrol. To this, I added a Chaos Rhino, 2 units of 2 Spawn, because they're fantastic in this army with the flat 6 reactive move, and a Defiler, because they look amazing. And I love Defilers. So this all together weirdly came to £300 on the nose, which was fun. And then I had to find something to add to this. Now, the Combat Patrol was so cool that I just added a second Combat Patrol. So I just added a second Combat Patrol as the first decision. So that was another Lord Exalted, another unit of 5 Infractors, another unit of 5 Tormentors, and another unit of 2 units of 3 Flawless Blades. Now, this was split into a unit of 6 and 2 units of 3. Then, to this, I added a Fulgrim, because Fulgrim's so damn cool, and probably arguably the best miniature from a release that year. And then Lord Cacophonist, a Lucius the Eternal, who goes into a unit of 6 Flawless Blades, and 6 Noise Marines to go with the Lord Cacophonist. Now, this altogether came to £608.50. That's not that bad. Again, this is into that average range of, prices of Warhammer armies, and it comes with a lot of variety and a Primarch. So I am a big fan of this sort of list, and the Combat Patrol is fantastic in the Emperor's Children, so if you want to give that a go give it a go. So let's move on to the next army. So Grey Knights are another sin in my past. I didn't do a 1,000 point army for these guys either, so I'm going to do one now. So I've started off with Castellan Crow. He's our one of 2 named special characters. And then we've got 2 units of 5 Strike Marines, 2 units of 5 Interceptors, 10 Purifiers to go with Castellan Crow, and 4 Brotherhood Terminators. Now I know the box comes with 5. Points didn't really let me have that last Terminator because Grey Knights are weirdly tight on points. But this army altogether comes to 195 points and a spare Terminator, which isn't too bad. And I prefer to go more infantry heavy with the 1,000 point Grey Knight list to give you some more stuff to play with, because it all gets quite pricey in points. But my 2,000 points, I've gone full on monster mode. So I've got 2 Grandmaster Dread Knights, 2 normal Dread Knights, and another 5 Terminators to make that a 10-man unit. And that altogether, including the 1,000 points and the 2,000 points for the expansion, comes to £435.50. That's not bad. So I think that's pretty good for a 2,000 point list. Grey Knights are one of the more cheaper armies you can go for, and I would definitely recommend giving them a go. However, I will say they are due a range refresh, so just beware of them. If you're going to invest in them and they get a range refresh in the next year, it might feel bad, but I still own Grey Knights, and when a range refresh comes out, I'm just going to replace them. So that's how I'm going to approach it, because I have a healthy attitude with Warhammer. So that's my Grey Knight list, and I hope you enjoy it. And let's move on to the next bit. The Genestealer Cults. So 1,000 point list is pretty long, so I'm going to run through it pretty quickly. So this was a Combat Patrol, which included Jackal Alphas, 10 Hybrid Metamorphs, Atlan Jackals, and Achilles Ridge Runner. That was the Combat Patrol. To this, I added a Benefectus, a Biophagus, 2 units of 20 Neophytes, 10 Hybrid Metamorphs, and 5 Acolyte hybrids. This all came to a total of £377, which is mental for a 1,000 point list. But Genestealer Cults are expensive, which is the nature. And to this, I have added a Patriarch, a Primus, and a Magus. That all comes in the Brood Coven box, which is actually pretty damn good for 3 characters. It's £44.50, so it's not so bad. Then I added a unit of 20 Neophytes, which is pretty fun. I added a Goliath Truck, which again is pretty damn cool. And then I added another Achilles Ridge Runner, because more indirect, more ways to give extra AP, all that good stuff. Another unit of 10 Hybrid Metamorphs, 20 Pure Strain Genestealers, which is in 10, 5, and 5. And all of that came to a total of £702, which is less than I thought it would be for Genestealer Cults, but it's still quite expensive. I tried to make this as cheap as I could, but it is just an expensive army by nature. It's lots of units that are cheap in points and expensive in price, which by nature is going to lead you to an expensive army. And also this army is quite hobby intensive as well. Lots of little details and that sort of thing, which you're going to have to paint. But it's a very, very cool army, which I would recommend. So if you enjoy Genestealer Cults and you love painting them and you love getting involved with them, have a look at this list. So let's move on to the next one. Imperial Knights. So my Imperial Knight list was super simple. It was Canis Rex, 2 Helverins, and 2 Warglaves. That altogether came to a total of £235, which wasn't so bad. Then to add to this, I wanted to add something a little bit different. So I added a Knight Castellan, which is a super cool big knight. Then I went for a Knight Destro, which is one of the newer knights, like an in-between of like the smaller knights and bigger knights. And then I went for an Armiger Warglaive and an Armiger Helverin. Build one of each from the box, and that's another £60. That altogether came to £518, which again is on the lower end for a 2,000 point Warhammer army, which is pretty cool. So I was really happy with this list, and I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. It is effectively 2 big knights, a medium knight, and 6 baby knights. So enjoy that one. So yeah, without further ado, let's move on to the next army. And this is another army that I missed, so forgive me. But here is Imperial Agents. So we're going to go with a Combat Patrol to start off with my 1,000 point list. It is an Eversor Assassin, a Ministorum Priest, 2 units of 10 Vigilator Squads. Then we have Inquisitorial Agents as well. So you actually get quite a few models in this Combat Patrol, which is pretty fun. Then I've added Inquisitor Croyle and a Watchmaster. So the prices for each of those are in the column on the price. Then I've added 2 units of 10 Subductors, a Deathwatch Kill Team, just a little 5-man, and then 10 Imperial Navy Breaches. Now, altogether, that will cost £372.50, which is mental. So they are quite expensive. But this is a nice little mix. You've got some deep striker units, you've got some units that can get shot, get an invuln and reactive move. You've just got some durable squads as well with the invuln. You've got a cool little assassin, you've got a cool little character. I think this is a cool little 1,000 point list. So I hope you have fun with this sort of list. And let's go on to the 2,000 point expansion. So the 2,000 points expansion, I added some Sisters of Battle. I think Sisters of Battle really enhanced this list. So I've added 2 units of 10 Sisters of Battle, 2 Immolators, which they get separated into. Then I've got 10 Subductors, which goes up to your 3rd unit of Subductors because they're durable and got an invuln are annoying. Then I've got 10 Imperial Navy Breaches, that's your 2nd unit of Imperial Navy Breaches, a unit of 5 Brotherhood Terminators, and then 2 units of Exaction Squads. This is a lot of stuff. This is so much stuff. Like, it's a lot of models to paint. I actually put this in one of the beginner-friendly armies in terms of hobby painting a while ago. I was wrong. This is a lot of stuff. I don't even know how detailed the models are. I feel like they are quite detailed. But I think this army just has so many models. But it's £760, which is very expensive as well. Like, I'd say if you're starting Imperial Agents, accept that they're not probably the best army in the game or the best supported army in the game. And as long as you know that and you start them and you enjoy them, you carry on. But they're expensive. But this is a list that I quite like for this. It's a nice little balanced list for them all. So without further ado, let's move on to the next one. The Leagues of Votann. So the Leagues of Votann originally started off with 2 Combat Patrols, which includes 2 NEA Champions, 2 units of 10 Hearthkin Warriors, 2 Brockia Thunderkin, 2 units of 5 NEA Hearthguard, and that's your 2 Combat Patrols. To add to this, I added 2 Capricus Carriers, a unit of 10 Hearthkin Jaegers, and that all came to a total of £329.50. Now, this is a nice little balance of units. I think it's really, really cool, but I needed to find something to add to it. So, first of all, I added a Menmir Strategist. I don't know what this guy does, or what his purpose is, but I had an extra 50 points, and he looked awesome. So I added him in. So, We start with a Memory Strategist, then we have another 5 Enir Hearthguard to make one of those units of 5 a 10-man, Ekaton Land Fortress to cart some things around, 2 units of 3 of the Hernkin Pioneers, which are your little bikes that can go uppy downy and have some fun, a unit of 6 Ironkin Steeljacks with Vulcanites, which have guns, and then 2 units of 2 Capricus Defenders. Now, the units of 2 Capricus Defenders are expensive, but they are very, very cool. I just love the Capricus. I think they just look so damn cool with the little, like, floaty wheels and all that sort of thing. I think that they've just got damn good vibes. And also you got little guys with parkas on, which I love. So, however, the total of this army is absolutely obscene. So the total of the army is £783.50, which is a lot of money. Now, this might be due to me wanting to have the 2 Capricuses and all that sort of thing, but I've tried to make it a little bit cheap by using the Terminators and having another land fort, but it's still within the region of 700 to 800, so it's just an expensive army. But they look really, really cool, and I really, really like the Leagues of Votann, and I do think this list is actually quite good as well. Like, not like going to win your tournaments, but just pretty good. So, yeah, if you like this sort of army, give it a go, and let me know how you like it. Then let's move on to the next one. The Necrons. So, my Necron army for 1,000 points started off with a Combat Patrol, which involved an Overlord, 10 Necron Warriors, Canoptic Doomstalker, a Canoptic Scarab Swarm unit, 3 Scorbeck Destroyers. And then to that, I added a Necrosaur Amatar, Oricon Diviner, another unit of 10 Warriors, which bumped up the 10-man to a 20-man, and 10 Lich Guard. This altogether came to £281.50, which is actually not too bad. Pretty cheap in terms of a 1,000-point army. And then I had to think about what I was adding for my 2,000 points. Now, when I did the Necrons, I felt like it was missing like a really cool centerpiece. So I just decided to add 2 centerpieces instead. So I added a Catan Nightbringer, who is an amazing miniature. A Catan Void Dragon, again, fantastic miniature. Love this guy. And then I've gone for Canoptic Tomb Crawlers to add into the Necron Warrior Brick to be a little bit more durable. And I've got a Doomsday Ark, which is super good at shooting and just super long range and just shoots from 1,000 miles away and also have a bunch of fun. And then 5 Flayed Ones. And that all comes to a total of £569, which is awesome. Pretty cheap, actually. Like, it's less than the £600, I'd say, for average for a Warhammer 40K army. Not the cheapest army you'll find throughout this video, but also it's well within the region of cheap, if that makes sense. So if you like this sort of army, then give it a go. And let's move on to the next one. The Tyranids. So my 1,000 point Tyranids was a bit weird. So it started off with a Combat Patrol, which was the Parasite of Mortrex, a Biovore, 10 Genestealers, and 3 Tyrant Guard. To this, I immediately added a Hive Tyrants for that Tyrant Guard because it felt wrong not having it. A unit of 10 Termagants, a unit of 10 Hormagaunts, and then an Exocrine and a Tyrannifex. Now, all that came to a total of £304 on the nose, which was fine. And, you know, that's fine for 1,000 points. It's not super cheap. It's not super expensive. It's just in the middle. And then for my Tyranid 2,000 point expansion, I decided to go for a unit of hyper-adapted Raveners and then a unit of 5 Raveners to go with it because they're rapid and go to free and the new miniatures look fantastic. So I went for that. I went for the Red Terror. We're waiting for a standalone model. So I'm guessing £60 for him. It might be more, but I've gone for that for now. I've gone for a Tyranid with Lash Whip, which is £27 to go in with some Hormagaunts. Then we've got 50 Hormagaunts, which then gives you 3 units of 20. Then I've got a Lictor, which is for a little lone up and running around, a Maleceptor, and a Neurolictor. Now, all that together costs £750 and 50 pence. That is a lot of money, I won't lie. But this is a lot of models and a very wide variety of models. So I would say that yes, it's expensive, but it's also a very cool and good looking army. And there's a lot of skill expressed in terms of organic painting here that you can really get yourself into. So if you want to give it a go, give it a go. But this army is relatively expensive, but I'm not really sure. The only way you can make this a bit cheaper is by trying to find other old Leviathan boxes that have various bits in it that you can just like buy bits of, which are probably a little bit cheaper, like, you know, Psychophages, Screamer Killers, and all that sort of thing. But I think this 2,000 point list is pretty cool. So, you know, if you give it a go and let me know. The Orks. So the Ork 1,000 point list, I started off with a starter set. So it's the Ork starter set, which comes with a War Boss and Weird Boy, 10 Gretchen, a War Track, and 20 Boys. That comes to £105. Pretty decent for a starter set. I really like this one. So if you guys wanted to try it out, I would. Then I've got 20 Beast Snagger Boys, a Beast Boss, 10 Commandos, which can be split into 5s, 6 Squeak Hog Boys, and 3 Death Copters. that was the 1,000 points. This one's really fun. It's got a nice little mix of shooting, combat, and some nice little tricky bits like the infiltrators and stuff. So I have a lot of fun with this with 1,000 points. Then I had to add some stuff to this. So I added, obviously, Ghazghkull Thraka, so which is pretty cool. Then I added a Pain Boy and 20 boys. That's all going to be one big unit. Now, the boys, we're waiting for new models. If you have someone to swap with the Armageddon kit, then you actually get 20 boys there anyway. But the 20 boys, I'm going to guess 76 pounds for the 2 boxes because, well, the Beast Snagger boys are set for 38 pounds each, so I'm going to guess that. Then I've got 3 killer cannons and a mech gun because I had like 50 points and these are 45, so why not? And a Morkanaut. Altogether, this came to £699.50, which is quite expensive, but orcs just are in general. Like, I think it's just one of those armies that, again, has kits that cost quite a lot but are low in points, so means that the army is going to cost a lot. But this 2,000 point list is really, really fun. You've got 3 big units of boys running around. You've got a little bit of shooting here and there. You've got a cool little, commando squad running around and big unit of squig hogs, which is super, super cool. So that's my Orc 2,000 point list. Let's move on to the next one. Next is the Space Marines. I've started this with a Space Marine starter set, which costs £105. This one you can use as a base for any of the chapters. So if you didn't like the Dark Angel one, try this one out. But this starts off with a Captain, a Librarian, 5 Intercessors, 5 Vanguard Veterans, and a Land Speeder. Then I added 5 Terminators to this. I added 10 Hellblasters and 6 Blade Guard. Now, altogether, that came to £263, which isn't too bad. Just a nice little force. So I really like this 1,000 point list. But I needed to add something to it. So I went for an Ancient Interminator armor, first of all, because I really like that model. So I just got him in. And I also had like 70 points, which is an awkward number. Then I got a Librarian Interminator armor, which you see a theme coming here. A Land Raider, because God, Land Raiders, they're so cool. A Redemptor Dreadnought, 2 units of 5 Scouts. That comes with a kill team for £49.50. And then another 5 Terminators to make your 5-man shooting squad a 10-man. And then 5-man Assault Terminator squad. This is where your Ancient's going to go in and go into a Land Raider and run around and do cool stuff. And altogether, that comes to £560. This is one of the cheaper armies you're going to see on the list. I think this one's really, really good and really good value for money. And also, the new Terminator kits are beautiful, and the new models in the Armageddon box, which are used in the starter set, are also amazing, so you'll have a lot of fun with this. And there's no old models here. They're all new sculpts. So if you wanted to go down this route rather than some of the other armies like Dark Angels, then you can totally do that. So that's my 2,000 points worth of Space Marines. Let's move on to the next one. The Space Wolves. So my 1,000 point Space Wolf list, as with most of these, started out with a Combat Patrol. Now the Combat Patrol includes a Wolfguard Battle Leader, 10 Grey Hunters, 5 Wolfguard Terminators, and 5 Wolfen with Hammers. Then to this I added another Wolfguard Battle Leader, another 10 Grey Hunters, and then 3 Thunderwolf Cavalry, 3 Wolfguard Head Takers, and Arjak Rockfist. And this is super cool. I really, really like this. You've got like a character with the Terminators and the Wolfguard Battle Leader, which is super cool. And yeah, so let's see what I'm going to add for 2,000 points. Now, 2,000 points, this was a little bit interesting because I wanted to keep as many of the Space Wolf units in as possible. So I went for Logan Grimnar, Ragnar Blackmane in a unit of 20 Blood Claws. And then I went for another 3 Thunderwolf Cavalry, a unit of Wolf Scouts, which is a kill team, and they look amazing. Another unit of 5 Wolfguard Terminators to make it a 10-man Wolfguard Terminator squad. Then I added a Wolfen Dreadnought, which is super fun, and a Wolf Priest. Now, altogether, this comes to £628.50. This is a lot of combat, not much shooting here, but I really wanted to lean into the Space Wolf life. So, a really fun thing about this is the Grey Hunter squads can split up into units of 5, one of the 1 detachment point units, which is really, really good. And I just really like the list. I really like Space Wolves. This gives you like a really nice mix of all the different Space Wolf units. And I think you'll have a lot of fun with this if you're just starting them out. So that's my 2,000 point Space Wolf list. And let's move on to the next one. The Tau Empire. The Shooting Fishmen of Awesomeness. So my 1,000 point list here was pretty fun. So I got 2 Combat Patrols, which includes 2 Commanders in Cold Star or Enforcer. I like Cold Star though. 2 10-man Breach teams, 2 Devilfish, and 2 units of Pathfinders. That all comes in the 2 Combat Patrols. To this I added 10 Crew Carnivores, and then 2 units of 3 Fire Knife Battlesuits, which the commanders can go into, which is pretty fun. Now, this is super simple, and it was £354.50, which is still a relatively high amount because the battlesuits just cost a lot, but I can't make a town without battlesuits, it's just wrong. But I need to look at how I'm going to make this 2,000 points. So, to this, I added a Cadre Fireblade, because I had 50 points spare, and he's a cool little character. Another Breach Team and another Devilfish. I will add as a caveat here that you could just buy another Combat Patrol, and it only costs like £27 more, I think it is. You'll get your Commander and Colstar and 10 more Pathfinders for £27, which is really, really good. I'm just going to go with the amount that I needed for the list, but if you want to do that, you could totally do it. It basically involves buying 3 Combat Patrols and whatever else is on the list. And then I added a Hammerhead Gunship, 2 Riptides, 2 units of 5 Stealth Suits, because they're really important in this army, because it gives you like a mini Oath ability, which real one stick wants to wound. And then I've got 5 Vespid Stingwings, and it's in a kill team, so you actually have 5 spare of this as well. And the total of that comes to £733.50. Tower, very expensive. They just are. But they're very, very cool. And I think aesthetically, they're one of the most unified of the factions. Like, they just have, they have, you know, Gundam robots that run around and shoot things, which is just super, super fun. So if you like this list, give it a go. And if you have any changes, let me know in the comments. And let's move on to the next one. The Thousand Suns. So these guys are really, really fun. I think they've had a little bit of a bad rep in terms of painting difficulty on the channel, but in terms of price, they're pretty decent. So let's go through it. In the 1,000 points, we had a Demon Prince of Tzeentch, a Zangor Shaman, 2 units of 5 Rubrics, and 3 Enlightened Great Bows. That all comes in £105 Combat Patrol. Then to this, I added 10 Zangor, a Mutilative Vortex Beast, 2 Chaos Spawn, a Sorcerer, and 2 spare Sorcerers with £40, and an Infernal Master. Now, I didn't include those sorcerers in the next bit because I wanted to add like 2 units I really wanted to add, so I added those. So, for the 2,000 point expansion, we added, obviously, Magnus the Red. Magnus is amazing. He's really, really cool, and in the game, he's really good as well, and he's just a super, super fun Primarch. So then we added a Sorcerer in Terminator armor and 10 Scarab Cult Terminators in one big unit because they're really fun, durable, and shoot good. And then I took 3 more Enlightened with Spears, because they're cheap. So, altogether, including the 1,000 points and the 2,000 points expansion, it's actually only £545 for this army, which did surprise me. I thought it was going to be a bit more than this, but this is actually a really good value for money army. And the painting is a little bit challenging, but it's a really, really fun army, and you'll have a lot of fun with this. So, yeah, that's my 1,000 Suns. And let's go on to the last army. The World Eaters, the Eaters of Worlds, Angron's Men. So, my 1,000 points, as with all of these, started out with a Combat Patrol. So, I have a Demon Prince of Khorne, Master of Executions, 10 Jackals, 10 Khorne Berserkers, and that came with the Combat Patrol. To this, I added another 10 Berserkers to make it a nice big unit of 20, a unit of 2 Chaos Spawn, a unit of 8 Bound, and a unit of Exalted 8 Bound. Altogether, this came to £263, which is not too bad for a 1,000 point army. I think you've got a nice range of, combat units in here. And you've got a nice big brick of Berserkers running off and doing stuff, which is super, super fun. Now, to this, I had someone mention that they really wanted Kharn in the 2,000 point list, which is fine, because I wanted Kharn in there anyway. So a 2,000 point expansion, I obviously first added Angron, because Angron's awesome. Every single one of these Chaos lists for the 2,000 points is going to have a Primarch. It just is. And then I have Kharn the Betrayer, and a Slaughterbound, going with some 8 Bound, and then 10 Berserkers for Kharn in a Chaos Rhino, which is really cool. And then I added 3 more 8 Bound, and a unit of Goremongers from the Kill Team range. Then all of this, including the 1,000 points and the 2,000 points expansion, came to £583.50, which goes into that well within average region of £600 for an army. And I think this one's really, really fun. I think you've got a Primarch, you've got a load of really cool combat pieces. You've got like deep striking combat pieces as well. It's just really, really, really cool. And the Slaughterbound hits like a truck, which is awesome. So that is the last 2,000 point list. If you've got this far in the video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please do drop a like and subscribe on the video. I've been really enjoying making these, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying watching them as well. We have new content out every week. I had a week off last week. I was at the World Championships playing Guard, which was really interesting, I suppose. And, and I'm going to try and do some more content. So I'm going to start doing live streams soon as well, which is super cool. And also, if there's anything you disagree with on this list, please do let me know in the comments. I read every single one, I reply to every single one, and I do listen to them. I've changed my opinion countless times since I've started the channel on various subjects throughout this hobby. And I hope that I continue to. I find it really fun, and I really find it interesting in the hobby. So guys, much love, and bye-bye.